as we move from one cycle to the next, there is an energy of these transitioning seasons that connects in a deeper way to our nature. And what I've noticed recently is a desire to really tune into what it means to live with your cycle. And even though we've got all kinds of apps and books and all kinds of fun things to investigate and get a deeper layer or information about how you would go about understanding your cycle and living with your cycle, there's still a lot of misconception when it comes to what it is. So if you find that you have hormonal imbalance, that you have very painful periods, that you have PMS, that you feel very volatile as you walk through your month, part of it is, of course, learning to understand, just like seasons, for those of you who live in, multiple seasonal locations, that as you transition through the year, it is not the same. Winter is not the same as summer. And yet, when we think of cycles inside of our body, we've been so conditioned to believe that we have to kind of flatline through. We push through our cycle in order to meet the world, because the world really values us being the same every day. That we can't show up in an office in our period thinking we're not going to be that productive today, and actually I should have just stayed at home. Why didn't I just stay at home and take care of myself so that I can be in flow with my cycle? The world doesn't operate like that, unfortunately, because there is validity into that, because we have more energy and different kinds of energies throughout our whole cycle. But to come back to the beginning and to figure out what is it that you can do in a very basic way to understand the energetics, like the key words or the flavors or colors of every part of your cycle. And I'm going to walk you through it in an archetypal way. I've got an online course of meditations that walk you through every part of your cycle, that you can listen to daily, that you can listen to once a week as you shift into those different energies flowing through your cycle. And that you can do this until you're more in tune with what is happening with your womb, what is happening in your body, what is going on with you. And in order to walk through that whole month, there are certain small adjustments that you can make in your life that will support you with your energy, with your flow, with being able to meet yourself and your body in your cycle, and to optimize the potential of every part of that journey. We are cyclical beings. We are not linear beings. And so the first step is accepting that we are cyclical beings. Now, if you notice that you have resistance to that idea or concept, it is an invitation for you to go and investigate that in a deeper way for yourself. Because the disconnect that can lead to really separating from body, because you're almost judging it for not cooperating with everything that your brain and your mind desires to do and execute all at one time. You could be like, I want to be a mom and have this amazing growing business and this and this and this and this and this. And it's not that you can't be all the things, but sometimes we need to approach it in a more cyclical way and build on top of the other, if that makes sense. So instead of like putting one stone down, finding a good spot for it, and then putting another stone on top, and then putting another stone on top, instead of just throwing all the stones out at once. Like, you want to build, and you want to give time and presence to the areas that you desire in your life. And there's only so much energy that you have in your life. And if you disconnect from your body in order to execute it all, also getting into a mindset and a belief system that you are capable of doing it all, at some moment your body will wake you up. It'll say no. It'll scream at you. And so to look at this holistically, mind, body, energy, spirit, whatever you want to call it, the part that we can't touch or see, if you even believe that, but to look at it more holistically. Your emotional world needs time, your physical world needs time, your spiritual world needs time, and your mental world needs time. And so to build and with all of these nuances and all of these, parts of you at play that are alive inside of you. So grounding into the natural rhythms of your own menstrual cycle is a practice that allows you to be more authentically in tune with your body in the present moment and feel safe, creative, empowered, and nourished. So there's all kinds of benefits. You can experience your cycle on a whole new level by making deep connections into your inner feelings and body at each stage of your cycle. Look at it as an intimate journey into the delicate rhythms of your inner being. You can use the archetypes that I'm going to share with you as guides for each week of your cycle so that you can sync with the moon, sync with the different energies, and it can be easily applied into your own cycle. And surrendering into the wisdom of your womb at each unique stage allows you to acknowledge the full scope of your talents, your gifts, know their value, and more easily achieve what it is that you desire. It gives space to feel the tingles of your life force energy, allowing peace and harmony to flood your being. Now, with this, before I step into the archetypal explanation, one of the most simple things that you can do for yourself is to adjust how you interact with your people, with your connections throughout your cycle. Now, what often happens, like one of the first things that you can do, what often happens is that during your ovulation period or the build up towards ovulation, that there is this energy of wanting to be able to connect and to meet all of your people, your tribe, the people that you love, the people, to go on dates, to interact. And that energy has you reaching out. So if you've ever recognized that you might have some days in your cycle where, you're just shooting out messages to people, checking in on people, and basically in full connection. And then you're making all of these meetings and appointments for the week or two that come after that moment of time. Now that means, I'm sorry, I have a cold, so my nose is all blocked. You probably hear it, but I have to stop every now and again to be able to breathe. Even though I'm really enthusiastic about this, you're making all of these appointments. And when you get to that week or two later, you're moving into the autumn winter kind of phase of your cycle. If you think of ovulation as being your summer. So you're moving into a moment when your energy is going more inwards and you want less contact. And yet you've made all of these appointments with people that you love. And it's conflicting with your energy. And so you might be, pushing yourself through, or you might be canceling and feeling bad and shame and guilt and all kinds of things about canceling all of these appointments because you're not feeling it, and beating yourself up about it because you don't really understand. Like, you wanted to see them, now you don't want to see them. And so why can't you just have the same energy that you had when you were making all of these appointments, and blah, 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 blah. If you find yourself doing this, a very quick and easy way is to adjust that for yourself. to recognize, just follow when you have your period, when your ovulation should be, and start planning your dates, your connections, your go out with your friends, do all the fun stuff in the spring and summertime. And plan some real nourishing self-care in those moments when you have your period, as you start going inwards and adjusting just on that level. And then there are a lot of other things that you can do to adjust after that. But if you already start planning around that inside of yourself and giving yourself the time to care for yourself when you need it in the right way, because when you want to be in connection, if you already plan that way, it's done. And then you can optimize that energy then. And when you want to be alone, instead of beating yourself up, you know that that's time for you to just be in your inner world, to take care of yourself, to slow down. So now we're going to dive in. So our womb holds wisdom that expresses itself during each phase of our cycle. Each phase is connected to a different archetype. So in the first week, we've got the waxing moon, which is the maiden. So this is the part of your cycle right after your period ends towards ovulation. And then we've got the full moon, the mother. Then we've got the waning moon, the queen. That's when people usually talk about having PMS, as you move towards your period. And then the new moon is your elder. So we'll dive into each of these. The maiden. The maiden's energies are dynamic and shining, a time when a woman is free and belongs only to herself. Though we are still aware of the dark inner world as we move into this energy, like winter coming into spring, we observe the new growth with optimism. Light starts pouring in and shining on our thoughts, our self-worth, our inner growth, our dreams, our heart's desires. The energies and alignments that accompany this phase are pre-ovulation, waxing moon, winter to spring, child to young adult woman. Those are the energies. So recognize for yourself what that feels like in your body. What are the sensations as I spoke this text? What is it that you can recognize in your life and when this energy is operating inside of you? Are there relationships? Are there environments? Are there actions or activities that you do when you feel this kind of energy? And see if you can start inviting that energy a little bit more in that moment of your cycle. We move on to mother. The mother asks us to go deeper into experience. We connect into the world through our emotions, our compassion, our love. As radiating as spring, but a different frequency as the fullness of summer is in bloom within. Our expression is through connection with others, nurturing the relationships that we have, speaking our truth. Sexuality is glowing and vibrant. The energy now can sometimes feel like you put your own wants and needs aside, and it becomes more about caring and loving the outer world. So the energies and alignments that accompany this phase are ovulation, full moon, summer, and full womanhood. Notice for yourself when you feel this way, which people bring these energies up inside of you, which context, which environments, which activities, and how can you bring more of that energy or open yourself to more of that energy around ovulation? What does it feel like in your body to be in this archetype, to step into it? We all have all of these archetypes, but like everything else, they're like preferences, and some are more strong live more powerfully inside of us than others. And if we start adjusting ourselves to our cycles and we invite in the energies at the right time, and when it really matches what is going on inside of us, our body, and we slow down, it's like fireworks almost that can go off. Communication becomes clearer, more beautiful, and more unique, I guess is the right word. It resonates with where you are in that moment. Queen, the queen or the enchantress. I love to call this one queen, but the enchantress is there. It's the mystical. I love this one. During the next premenstrual phase, women start to experience their inner unconscious, more psychic world, becoming more aware and comfortable of the power that lays within the mysteries of our own nature. Like the days beginning to shorten into autumn and getting dark, there is a parallel of movement inwards to the dark unseen shadow. A space where fears, patterns, filters, creativity, our ancestral imprint are all stirred. Sexuality becomes powerful as we become aware of our own personal magic with maturity and our effect on others. To fight the queen energies shows in classic premenstrual symptoms. The energies and alignments that accompany this phase are between ovulation and menstruation. It's the waning moon, so the moon that is getting smaller. Autumn, menopause. Notice the parts of your life, again, where you recognize these energies inside of you and recognize what they feel like. Where does the queen live inside of you? And how can you invite her in at the right moment of your cycle? And now for the last one, the elder. The elder phase is a time of withdrawal, a time to listen to our inner self and body, a space to go inwards in order to understand our soul being in the world. The threshold between the conscious and unconscious parts of us are lowered, allowing more access to our intuition, spirituality, body's wisdom. The body has less energy and is physically letting go, showing us that it is time to rest, time to tune into inner harmony and release what no longer serves us. The energies and alignments that accompany this phase are the menstrual phase, dark moon, winter, and the elder. Knowing more about your cycle, tuning into it, understanding your own body and signs can give you a sense of more self-love, being in tune with yourself, and more confidence, more self-confidence. When you become aware of yourself, you will intuitively connect into your body more and understand your moods, understand your emotions, understand your desires and your energies a little bit better. Integrating this awareness into your daily routine will allow you to flow more naturally with the changes that naturally occur throughout the cycle, throughout life. So I'd love for you to check out my course, which is meditations that take you through the cycle. And you can use them as often or as little as feels right for you. It's tuning into the womb, tuning into the body, tuning into the sensations. It's a real support for you. The first thing is to start recognizing what arises in your beliefs, in your mind, in your body, in your energy. If you start feeling into whether or not there's resistance or flow with the idea, the concept of living cyclically. Notice what happens, because that's where it starts. It starts with your beliefs around it. If you want to start pressuring yourself into cyclical living because you are surrounded by people who are doing that and that it doesn't sit well, or there's something inside of you that's like, no, that's the part to investigate first before you start pushing yourself into cycle, before you start downloading all the apps. Now, this is from me with my completely stuffed nose. That's all I have for right now. I look forward to hearing from you, how you live in cycle, what you experience in your cycle. Perhaps you have even more tips on how to walk through that journey. Check out the course, Cyclical Living, on my website, and I'll see you next time. One love.